Now, back by popular demand, it's the Lance Roberts Show.
And welcome to the show this morning at 6:06 on your drive into work as I suffer PTSD this morning.
PTSD?
Yes. I told you about my trip to New Mexico where we got stuck in the blizzard for 6 hours.
The snowstorm from hell?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's really kind of spooky about that is that, I told you the story. We drove to New Mexico. The whole family, the dog, the whole 9 yards, right? We get stuck in this blizzard for 6 hours on I-40 in New Mexico. Finally get to the ski resort, Ski Valley, New Mexico, Taos.
Yes.
Right? Great time. We had a great time there. Just snowing like crazy, though. But, every morning that you wake up to sounds of dynamite being set off, because they're clearing for the avalanches, right? So,
okay.
They're up there. They're dynamiting the side of the mountain.
So that's how they do it.
Yeah, so you hear these boom, boom, dog's freaking out. He thinks it's 4th of July every morning. He hates fireworks, by the way.
Yeah.
So, every morning you hear this. Of course, they're clearing the avalanches and all this. So, and I told you the story that, I'm getting ready to come back. We go down. I have to dig the car out. And why people live in areas where it snows like crazy, I really have no idea. I'm digging the car out. The car is completely iced over. So, the windshield's completely just thick with ice. And of course, I turned on the defroster. The whole windshield cracks, the whole 9 yards. Well, so two things, just last week, I don't know if you saw the story, but 2 skiers were buried in 10 feet of snow in an avalanche. They got caught in an avalanche.
Oh, man.
At Ski Valley.
At Ski Valley.
Right where we were. I was actually, we were actually, on those slopes the week before this big avalanche occurs. So at least that didn't happen during my vacation. So, but no, I woke up this morning and of course my windshields are completely iced over and, trying to get ready to come to work. So it's 4 o'clock this morning. I'm trying to de-ice my windshield. And I just have this whole flashback. My windshield's going to crack. So
the
fortunately,
joys of apartment living.
I know, right. So fortunately, it didn't happen. Everything was good, but I was having a bit of flashback this morning. So
yep, there's
anyway.
your PTSD from wintertime.
Exactly. All right, look, we got lots of stuff to get into today. Some interesting stories, really, kind of from all around the globe that we're going to kind of talk about this morning. Might have some fun. It's Thursday, by the way, just kind of winding up the week. Holiday shortened week, of course. That we were closed on Monday for Martin Luther King Day. And so this has made it a very short week for the financial markets. And of course, one of the ongoing problems that we continue to struggle with here in the States is, of course, shall we say the lack of communication between Democrats and Republicans. Of course, the government remains shut down at this point, which, as we've talked about, is going to have an impact to the economic growth that we have in the country. Because, again, we have people being laid off right now. They're not getting paid. That means that crimps consumption. So we are going to see some of our economic data slow down here over the course of the next couple of months until such time as we get the government reopened, and then we'll start to actually kind of get things back on track. One of the interesting sidelines of this, of course, of the government shutdown, is that the State of the Union address has now been postponed. It's something that you may not know is that the Speaker of the House actually invites the President to come give the State of the Union. It's not actually a foregone thing. The President stands up and says, hey, I'm going to do this. No, he actually gets invited by Congress to come and give the State of the Union address. And of course, Nancy Pelosi sent a letter because of the shutdown saying that basically there's not enough security, et cetera, so forth, so on. That, we had to shut down the White House tours also for the same reason, security.
And the national parks.
Yeah. So she has now disinvited the president from a State of the Union address. So that, too, will be delayed. We normally get a State of the Union address around the end of this month, so that's now been delayed. Again, this is politics in action at this point.
The State of the Union is closed.
Exactly. Not only is the economy slowing down, our State of the Union just is non-existent at the moment.
In one corner of the storefront, there's a closed sign, and in the other corner of the storefront, there's a help wanted sign.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So anyway, this is going to be, again, we just got to continue to roll through this. Now, surprisingly enough, with all these angst going on, the markets have actually been doing a little bit better as of late. And of course, we've talked about over the last couple of days that the market had moved back above the 50-day moving average. Now, it's a bunch of technical mumbo jumbo, but all that means is that the markets are improving in terms of their positioning, which is a good thing, right? So that whole sell-off we had back in November and December, at least for now, that's kind of been put behind us, and the markets are beginning to base along these October, November lows. This is a good thing because it's taking some of the pressure off prices currently. And again, as long as the markets can hold these levels, and over the last couple of days, we've retested these lower levels and have rebounded back towards the end of the day. So that's actually a very positive sign. Yesterday we actually were up, but we actually closed lower than where we opened up for the day. But again, the markets are really kind of testing along these bottom lines. If the market can continue to do this here for a little bit longer, and I can kind of show you on this chart that we've been looking at lately, this pullback is actually occurring on lighter volume, which is suggestive that this consolidation is legitimate here. And then also, when we take a look at this overbought, oversold condition, again, when you think about markets, they are a function of demand, right? So just like any good marketplace, I think like an auction where people are bidding on some type of object, whatever it is that there will be a point to where bidders simply back off because price gets too high. And that's when markets become overbought. When prices are low enough, bidders will come back into the markets. And that's simply just how the supply and demand of a market actually works. Well, this consolidation here over the last couple of days has begun to work off that overbought condition. That's actually a good thing. So, as we've talked about before, is that the positive news here is that from an investment perspective and from a market perspective, so think about your 401k plans, think about other things like that you may have money invested in, is that what the market shows you is a good glimpse into what the market thinks about the economy real short term over the course of the next couple of months. What the market's telling you is that things are still stable here and the outlook is still positive at this point. But again, we're watching earnings, we're watching economic growth, and there's a lot of unknowns at this point because of what's happening politically as well as economically here in the States. So keep a watch on this. Again, we've been talking about taking a little bit of money off the table, reducing some of your portfolio risk currently until we get a little bit better picture. But technically, the fundamental underpinnings of the market still remain fairly stable. And now this kind of consolidation that we've seen here over the last few days is bullish in the short term. So that helps keep portfolios maintained. It keeps allocations into the markets for the time being. Again, kind of reduces some of that concern. When we come back from the break, I've got a lot of stories to get into this morning. Of course, we'll always take your questions and comments. So if you have any questions, love to get on the show. 281-558-5738 is the number. Feel free to give us a call or simply go by our website, realinvestmentadvice.com, and you can send us questions, emails. We get lots every day. We answer them all before the end of the day. We'll make sure we get you taken care of. Simply go by the website, get our latest podcast, our live video stream, so you can actually watch the show live and see the charts that we're talking about. And all your favorite podcast apps are there as well under the podcast tab. Also, while you're there, check out riapro.net. That's our professional version of the website. We'll be right back after the break. Don't go away. I'm your host, Lance Roberts.
Get daily investment news you can use, delivered at the speed of the internet. Sign up for Lance's newsletter now at lancerobertshow.com.